Welcome to English Lessons with inlingua Vancouver. My name is Linda, and today I'm going to talk about how to make a question in the simple present tense using the auxiliary verb do and does. One exception when making the question is that you do not use do and does when you have the verb to be or modal verbs such as should, can, or might. So let's look here. When you make a question in the simple present tense, you use the auxiliary verb do or does. When you use the auxiliary verb do, you use the subject pronoun I, you, we, and they. Then the verb, as you have here, go, speak, like, or eat. So an example question could be, do you speak English? Or do you like sushi? Or do we like English grammar? Another way to make a question is with does, and you use does with the subject he, she, and it. And then also with the verb and, of course, the question mark. So an example could be, does he like sushi? Or does she drink milk? So, when you're making a question in the simple present tense, you use the auxiliary verb do or does. You use do with the subject I, you, we, and they, plus the verb, and of course the question mark. When you have the subject pronoun or the subject he, she, it, you use the auxiliary verb does. So if we look here, you have sentences, positive sentences. So, they like English. To make this into a question, you would simply put, for they, you use do. So you would say, do they like English? Question mark. So the only thing that you're adding here is the auxiliary verb do and the question mark. So you have the question, do they like English? The auxiliary verb do, the verb like, and here of course is the subject they. The reason again you have do is because with the subject they and the verb like, and of course the question mark. So when you're making a question, here is the affirmative sentence, he speak English, you would say he speaks English. Now, when you make the question, you use the auxiliary verb does. So, does he So, the affirmative sentence is, he speaks Spanish. The question, you just add does, the auxiliary verb does, because the subject is he, and then you add the question mark. The only difference is, with the singular third person singular, he, she, or it, in the question form you omit the S. So as you can see in this affirmative sentence, he speaks Spanish. When you make it into a question, you do not put the S on the verb. You drop the S because you have the auxiliary does. So again, when you're making a question in the simple present tense with the auxiliary verb do or does, you use do plus I, you, we, and they, and then plus the verb and the question mark. When you make a question with the subject he, she, it in the simple present tense, you use does. So does he, she, it, then the verb and the question mark. And this is in the simple present tense. The exception, remember, is when you make a question and the verb is to be, you do not use the auxiliary verb do or does. So let's look at our examples again. The affirmative sentence is, they like English. The subject, they, the verb like, English. They like English. So the question is, you simply add do and the question mark to turn it into a present simple sentence. So, do they like English? Question mark. Again, the affirmative sentence here is he speaks Spanish. He is the subject, speaks is the verb, and Spanish is the object. So, when you make it into a question, remember with this third person singular, you omit the S on the verb. You just add does. So, does he speak Spanish? It is not correct to put, does he speak Spanish? This is wrong. When it's he, she, or it, remember to always omit the S on the verb. So, here we have how to make a simple, present simple sentence using the auxiliary verb do and does. Just remember the exception is, when it's the verb to be, you do not use the auxiliary verb do or does. So that's it. So make sure to subscribe to our channel and see you guys next time.